Faris Al-Rawi referred to Privileges Committee, the conspiracy allegation that could end a senior counsel's parliamentary career. By WZYE-TV Political Desk, enhanced from Anna Ramdas Trinidad Express. The walls are closing in on opposition Senator Faris Al-Rawi, SC. What began as a scandal surrounding embattled PNM Senator Janelle John Bates has now metastasized into something far more serious, a formal referral to the Privileges Committee, allegations of conspiracy to commit contempt of Parliament, and the very real possibility that one of the PNM's most senior legal minds may have actively helped engineer an attempted subversion of democratic oversight. And this time, the evidence isn't circumstantial. It's embedded in the metadata of a document, and it has Al-Rawi's fingerprints all over it. What happened in the Senate chamber? At yesterday's Senate sitting, Labor Minister Leroy Baptiste moved a motion to adopt the PAC's special report on Senator John Bates' conduct and wasted no time implicating her senior colleague. Baptiste told the chamber that the documentary evidence attached to the report squarely and unavoidably pointed to Al-Rawi. The basis? Former Health Minister Terence D'Alsinga's witness statement to the PAC, a document whose track changes and embedded metadata revealed that both John Bates and Al-Rawi had participated in preparing it. This was not a matter of interpretation. The digital record showed Al-Rawi revising, editing, and in some instances overriding changes within a document that was submitted as independent evidence to a parliamentary committee of which John Bates was a sitting member. Baptiste was unsparing in his conclusion. His participation cannot be viewed as innocent or detached. It forms part of a sequence of coordinated actions which resulted in evidence being created, shaped, and presented to a parliamentary committee under circumstances that compromise its integrity. Senate President Wade Marks subsequently granted leave for two matters of privilege to be raised by Government Senator David Naquet, one against John Bates, one against Al-Rawi. By the end of the sitting, both senators had been formally referred to the Privileges Committee. The charges: conspiracy, contempt, and a cover-up that couldn't hide. Senator Naquet, himself a PAC member, laid out the case with precision. On John Bates, she had actively assisted in drafting and advising on D'Alsinga's memorandum of evidence placed before a committee on which she sat, without disclosing her involvement and without recusing herself. Had the PAC chairman not intervened, the evidence suggests she would have continued participating in deliberations on that very document. On Al-Rawi, his name appears repeatedly throughout the track changes of the submission. As a senior counsel with over 30 years at the bar, Naquet argued, Al-Rawi was not merely negligent, he was knowingly complicit. Naquet invoked Erskine May, the definitive parliamentary authority, noting that a conspiracy to deceive either House or any committee constitutes contempt of Parliament. He further argued that legal professional privilege cannot be used as a shield for what he called deceitful conduct, alleging a three-way conspiracy between Al-Rawi, John Bates, and D'Alsinga to deceive the committee and corrupt the parliamentary process. Roberts. He knew. He watched. He joined. Minister in the Ministry of Housing Anil Roberts delivered perhaps the most scorching assessment of the day, and he saved his sharpest words for Al-Rawi. Roberts reminded the chamber that Al-Rawi is not just any senator. He is a third-generation parliamentarian, a former attorney general, a man who was himself instrumental in pursuing a witness tampering charge in a prior matter. The standard to which he must be held, Roberts argued, is not the standard of an inexperienced backbencher. He saw a young parliamentarian making an error, admittedly so, and did nothing to prevent it. Roberts described the entire affair as an undisputed PNM political horror story, noting that both Al-Rawi and John Bates, as attorneys, had acted in a manner that was professionally and morally indefensible. He referenced former PNM General Secretary Ashton Ford's public assessment of Al-Rawi as a non-performer, and argued that Al-Rawi's inaction was worse than ignorance.
It was a choice.
Roberts went further, calling on Parliament to retain U.S. attorneys and issue subpoenas to Google to preserve the email trail between Al-Rawi, John Bates, and D'Alsinga, invoking the ghost of Emailgate as a warning against evidence disappearing. He also called for legal advice to be sought on potential criminal exposure, including witness tampering, conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, misconduct in public office, corruption, and fraud. His closing message was unambiguous. Both senators should resign, but particularly Al-Rawi, whom he accused of clinging to his position with the grip of a man who has never once been held accountable. WZYE-TV analysis: when the lawyer becomes the liability. Let us be direct about what this moment represents, because the people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve honesty, not political theater. Faris Al-Rawi has spent years positioning himself as one of the PNM's sharpest legal minds. He has invoked parliamentary procedure, cited legal authority, and presented himself as a guardian of institutional integrity. He pursued witness tampering charges against others. He lectured this nation on the sanctity of the law. And now, according to the metadata of a government document, he sat at a keyboard and helped a former minister under parliamentary investigation craft his defense, while a colleague of his, serving on that very investigating committee, apparently coordinated the effort from the inside. If the allegations are proven before the Privileges Committee, this is not a political miscalculation. This is a betrayal of the foundational principle that parliamentary oversight must be independent, impartial, and free from interference. It is precisely the kind of conduct Al-Rawi himself would have condemned loudly, legally, and with great theatrical flourish, had it been committed by someone on the opposite bench. That is the defining irony of this moment. And what does this say about the PNM as an institution? A senator helping coach a minister's testimony. A senior counsel allegedly lending his legal expertise not to uphold the law, but to circumvent oversight. A party apparatus that, rather than immediately disciplining its own, waited for the metadata to speak first. This is a party that cannot govern itself. And a party that cannot govern itself has no credible claim to govern a nation. The Privileges Committee will now do its work. But the political verdict is already being rendered, in the court of public opinion, in the corridors of Parliament, and in the growing silence of a PNM leadership that has no credible answer for what its members have done. Al-Rawi built his career on the law. The law has now come for him. WZYE-TV, Caribbean News. No filter. No fear.